Good morning, everybody. I thought I'd just come here today. You're going to see another video. I'm in the process of getting my car dynoed. I always get my cars dynoed to get that baseline before hitting the track. So that's one of the things that you're going to see on my upcoming video. But maybe I'm late to the game, but I wanted to have another discussion that I thought was interesting. Because everything over, the internet, social media right now is talking about Ford and the concept of a four-door Mustang. So let's talk about it. I think going back, when we're looking at the Mach-E's, to all my Ford fans out there, I think that it's a pretty decent car. I don't think it should be called a Mustang, just like the four-door sedan. Shouldn't be called a Mustang, right? The Mustang is classic for that two-door coupe. But I get it, Mustang carries that name, and Mustang, the name it sells. So before we talk about, the upcoming concepts with Ford is trying to come out, let's talk about a little bit of history. So there already was a four-door sedan. Ford came out years ago, and everybody knows it was the Ford Falcon. A little bit of history, started out in 1960, I believe. And then it had 7 generations, and I believe they stopped doing it, don't quote me, in 2016. So Ford Falcon was doing fantastic at the time. And I think, going back in the history in 2010, that's when they came up with 2 versions, but they put that 5.0, the Coyote, in there. But it was not available in the United States. It was Australia. And at that time, the 2 versions would give you 422 horsepower and 449 horsepower. Great car. That is the four-door sedan, right? So if Ford wants to revisit that concept or revisit that thing, they need to call it a different car. I don't think that it deserves to be called a Mustang. At the time, Ford was doing, a lot of things. And of course, they discontinued that car. I think that car had a lot of potential. Great car. And I do believe, with Ford performance vehicles, and at the time with ProDriver and their, people, the engineering people, they were developing the next phase of the Ford Falcon. And I do believe they were calling that concept, or they were making it the Holy Grail. And at that time, the Holy Grail was, I think if I'm looking at it, would give you over 600 horsepower. Because that didn't go through, Premcar decided, hey, you know what? We're still going to do it. And we're going to allow the people who bought the Ford Falcon XR8 to go ahead and buy like a stage kit, an intercooler system with better suspensions, and give it that horsepower. And that's exactly what they did. So those people who bought the Ford Falcon with the Coyote engine were able to upgrade it with this direct connection, just call it like a stage kit kind of thing. But again, it was not available here. Now, there are some videos on YouTube that I looked up. Fantastic. That car sounds freaking fantastic. V8, I mean, it puts you in the mindset of the Dodge Charger, right? In saying that, if Ford decides to do this 4-car sedan, I think this is a perfect opportunity. And I'm telling you right now, that CEO, he's onto something, because he's going to capitalize right now this market, and he's going to lure in us Mopar people, the Dodge people, because we have no other options, right? You remember Dodge Stellantis is going to the EV, the Daytona EV, which in my opinion, my opinion, that shit sucks. And I think we're going to, as Dodge people, we want something else. Dodge is going to lose a lot of their true fan base. And I think this gives us an opportunity to be like, oh crap, we have another alternative. So let's talk about that. So as we know, moving forward, there's no more Charger V8s for Dodge, right? So what better way? Ford steps up now and says, hey, we're building a 4-door sedan. And for all you guys who know me, I'm a mom. I had a Charger back in the day, loved my sedan. You have that horsepower, It was practical. Those are things that I wouldn't mind parking by my Hellcat, right? And then Ford, if they do this concept, it's just going to be, like I said, the next version, in my opinion, to a Dodge Charger. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get up here and say, you know what, Mustang is a two-door, and I get it. Just like if you go back and look at the history for the Charger started out two doors, and then it developed into four doors. So there was that transition too, where people were like, man, I'm not doing the four-door Dodge Charger. And look, if you look statistically, the Charger outsold the Challenger. Go back and look at the history, because people wanted that. It was practical for a family. You can have that speed as well as family. And I think that's what's going to sell if Ford decides to do that. Now, by all means, I don't know, it's still concept mode if it's actually going to happen. But I believe, looking back at Ford's model and in my other videos, when I told you my opinion on, the processes of Dodge and how I think that it caused their demise versus Ford has been very calculated this whole time. And I just think that they, in the back of their minds, are going to capitalize on this market and on this situation. Again, I'm very excited about it. I want to see it because who knows? I might be rocking a four-door Ford. Hopefully it's not called a Mustang, because like I said, I don't think it deserves to be called a Mustang. But what I also like too is, because I've always said I wanted to learn manual, right? They are, based on what I was reading, going to entertain the idea of having both an automatic and a manual. I think that would be fantastic. I think the only thing that's going to be hard is a Charger, just like versus a Challenger. It weighs more, right? So they're going to really have to, think about the suspension, think about all of that to kind of compensate for the weight. But overall, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a very strategic market move, but let me know in the comments the thoughts, what you think about this upcoming, concept of the four-door Mustang. Your thoughts on how it would captivate, us as Mopar people moving forward, because right now we don't have any V8 alternatives. Right now, as we all know, Stellantis, all going EV. Yes, a lot of us are interested about the inline sixes that are coming out, but again, looking at these prices and the fact that the EVs and everything right now are outperformed by Teslas and all that, I'm not too, I don't know. I don't know if Dodge is going to be able to pull it off. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you feel about this four-door sedan Mustang, because I'm curious to know. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.